Hey there, welcome to ATL and 29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chenard. I'm here with Tyler Jones and Glenn Willis on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night,
They
Wednesday. The Hawks have a game with the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow. They defeated the Dallas Mavericks last night, and Bam Adebayo scored 83 points from Magic City or something like that. I don't know where that happened. Where do you want to start first? You want to talk about Bam's 83-point game?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll just start with you're allowed to feel however you want. Like there's been a lot of um back and forth on social media, which is the thing that happens on social media. But I mean, I mean, there's something there are things to appreciate about Bam's game. The Heat, typically their culture is when you respect, like we when they had the stupid at 3 hour halftime show, we all vented about that, earlier in the season. But I mean, fouling to create more possessions. I mean, what are we doing? To me, that's embarrassing. I think it's shameful. And I think that's beneath the Heat organization. I mean, maybe I hold them in too high regard. I need to readjust how much regard I have for them after that game last night. But I thought that was embarrassing.
What do you think, Tyler?
What do I think? I don't know. I didn't watch it until the end. I mean, at the end, I was just like, yeah, go ahead and get it. Get more than Kobe, I guess. I don't know. It was interesting because like I think the first quarter he was legitimately fantastic. And so I mean it's just a consequence of teams not putting competitive NBA basketball players on the floor. And he took, the Heat took advantage. I don't if this leads to like tanking is going to get out and like teams are going to have to play their guys going forward. Like if nothing else, if this shames the Wizards into never doing this again for the rest of their franchise history, I'm okay with it. Like the 83 points, is immaterial because like Glenn said, I mean, 43 free throw attempts is a comical number. And so it's just like but it speaks to the fact that the Wizards didn't throw out basketball players that could handle him. Like they didn't have a center. Like they didn't have size, length, or strength to bother Bam. So he went off for, they couldn't stop him physically, and he has a real dribble, so he's able to, draw fouls. And like to me, that's an indictment on the organization. And so like I don't blame Bam for getting 83 points, and I don't blame the Heat for gaming the system there. I blame the Wizards. I'm like, you know, it really it's Adam Silver's fault because they're incentivized to not try. But it's just like that was a shameful performance from them. Like Bam is not some great scorer. That should never happen. Now again, first quarter, 31 points. He was absolutely electric. I'm not taking that away from him. The rest of the game was 100% because the Heat knew that the Wizards had nothing for them and weren't going to compete. They could just, all right, we're going to get Bam the record. At that point they made a decision, we're getting Bam the record, and he went and got it. So like to me, it's an indictment on the Wizards not fielding a competitive team to really threaten the Heat to play optimal basketball. That's really where the issue comes from. So like I can see both sides on the Bam argument, but I'm like, it's not like he got the scoring record. He's still 100. He didn't get close really at the end of the day. So if he got 102 points that way, I don't know. But like second place, like look, man, I love Kobe growing up, but like it ain't first, man. It's not 100. So I think the Kobe fans can relax a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of with both of you. Except for like, Glenn's talking about holding the Heat in high regard. I don't hold the Heat in high regard.
Me neither. Me
But
neither. I mean, they're gonna have.
it's kind of shameful from them. It's the Wizards, are what they're putting on the floor is just an absurd bastardization of basketball. Anthony Gill is like a one player tank all by himself. Like they had to get Marvin Bagley out of there just to really make sure that the tank would take hold, and it has. Like it's just it's bad from the Heat. It's bad from the Wizards. The only good thing that can really come out of it is like Tyler said, is like just put the spotlight on the tanking. Like it needs to happen. It's what some of these teams are doing is so grotesque. But I will say, like in his autobiography, because that's one of the most reliable things that you've got to go on. The first one, Wilt says that they were kind of gimmicky in the race for his 100 too. Like
Yeah, have to be.
his team
Have
was fouling to get extra possessions. It was, up and down with extra fouls, trying to make more possessions so that he could get to 100. And then they didn't even finish the game when he got there. Like it was just so, it's just exhibition nonsense, but that's important because that's what some of these tanking games are, is just exhibition nonsense. All right. Magic City, we can fire off all the hot takes here. We don't have to talk about basketball. The Hawks are too good. There's nothing to pick on. We could just riff on everything else.
I mean,
uh,
it's another one where there's kind of a fight. You got Luke Cornett saying what he's saying, and other people saying what they're saying, and like I feel like these are people who don't really even know anything about Atlanta, and don't even know really what the event was going to consist of. And they were making a lot of assumptions about what it was going to consist of. It was like it's wings and hoodies. That's all it was going to be. It was wings and
And
that's all it
music.
was going to be, right? It's a branding thing, and stuff. And if there are people who are, will say more conservative and have a certain feeling about it, I'm not going to try to talk you off of your viewpoint or whatever. But I viewed it as a pretty innocent kind of thing. Anyone who just read the headline and assumed that there was going to be like adult entertainment in the arena, we'll call it, has no idea what the event really was going to consist of, and so that I'll leave it at that.
The part that got me is that the NBA put out a statement when they canceled it. And, during the whole charade, there was plenty of, okay, like how harmful is the Magic City thing when the NBA has problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10? And their critique was that's whataboutism. You're just using a what about argument to point at the NBA's other flaws, and you're not judging this case on its merits. Well, that's not true because the statement from the NBA said we cannot have this Magic City event because we've heard from our partners. Okay, you've heard from your partners. Now you've opened the door. Who are your partners? Who have you partnered with? What are their respective merits in their own right? And now you can pick off the partners one by one and examine them. And I think it's pretty easy if you're using that kind of argument to find a whole bunch of things that are a whole lot more harmful than a Magic City hoodie.
To start with, the partnership with all the gambling platforms.
There's one. That's a
That's
partner.
that is toxic. That is bad for people. It is it's horrible. I'd put that as I mean, and it is on every single NBA broadcast, every single one, and it's
I
bad.
think I don't know where, what you see on your broadcast. I think we're partially sheltered in Atlanta by some state laws. Like the Hawks broadcasts haven't been too bad. Sometimes I'll watch one from out of state on League Pass and it's like, oh my God, this thing would make me crazy if it was this bad for me every night. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and then I mean, and people want to talk about players that have gone through different criminal experiences or whatever, and be allowed. It's like these things are in different categories, I guess you'll say. It's hard to just take one and kind of compare it to the other. But I mean, this event, I viewed it as being a largely harmless event. I mean, the Hawks understood like families are still coming to this game. We're not going to put things like in front of families that are not appropriate for families. Like some 6-year-old might be like, "Hey, Dad, what's Magic City?" or whatever, and Dad's got to figure out how to just play that off and like take the discussion in a different direction. No big deal. So that's where it is. That's where it is for me. I still think the gambling relationship is the most problematic aspect of the league right now. It's not close.
Your turn, Tyler.
Um, I found it disrespectful. I'm gonna not get too political about this because this is a basketball podcast, but to me, this felt like Adam Silver overstepping his bounds here when I'm almost positive they approved this before the quote unquote backlash came. And this is a and like I just want to say this is fairly consistent with Adam Silver. He hears noise from certain partners. We all know who these partners are. They 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 rabble rouse in the background, and then he pulls back on items. To me, this was going to be a harmless, fun night. Everybody in the city of Atlanta knows what Magic City is. Magic City is an institution. There is no child that's going to an NBA game that's going to care about Magic City. For the kids, teenagers, by the time you're a teenager, you know what Magic City is. It's not that big a deal. People are a lot more mature than they're given credit for, and I just felt overall it was a very infantile. Like they infantilized the fans who would have gone to the arena because the tickets were selling out. I saw the prices for the tickets. I was trying to go just to show up for the event because to me I thought this was going to be a celebration of the city of Atlanta and one of its premier institutions. If you want to read more about my real thoughts on it, Steph No wrote
Yep.
a brilliant piece on the item. He actually interviewed Nat's Honey, a worker, a stripper from who doesn't work at Magic City, but owns like owns like a strippers united, which is a union of workers or whatever. And she gave a great interview. And like I just want to quote this: "If you feel like you're speaking up on our behalf, I hate to break it to you, you're not. You're belittling us." And I really feel like that sentence kind of is emblematic of how I felt the entire time once the backlash came. Because again, I know the hoodie sold out. I couldn't get a hoodie. I know the ticket sold out. I couldn't get a ticket. It was going to be one of the biggest events on the calendar for Atlanta. And like I think a lot of people from the city of Atlanta understood when they did a Magic City night, it wasn't necessarily about what Magic City is like actually is. If you go there, more of what Magic City represents to the city of Atlanta itself. That's my understanding of why it was going to happen. I honestly, I didn't think they were going to go far enough with what they were promoting. Cause but you know, I think overall, like to me, I just feel like Adam Silver really overstepped here. I'm not trying to make it a whataboutism. Like, what about this? What about gambling? What about all these other places? Like, I don't care about that as much as it's another item where Adam Silver puts his foot down in order to keep his league less progressive than what it could be or what it should be. I'll just leave it at that, and maybe we can move on. But
There's,
I
oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead. I just it's been a trend with the league since basically the bubble. Since the bubble, it has been a constant pullback from ownerships, from the commissioner. This is just another line item I'm putting on there. I'm keeping a list, Adam. Like I see what game you're playing. I don't like it. Like I don't like it. I he for some reason he's at a college football resort, in Washington D.C. Discuss college athletics, but he's got, he can make one political statement there, but when it regards like black, like I'm sorry, when it regards black women and black people in particular, all of a sudden, oh, we can't do it because God forbid we celebrate workers in this country. My God, like it's classes too. Like it's just like, and I'm super disappointed in Al Horford as well. I just want to leave it at that. Like, I just distasteful, especially considering who his sister is, who I like. Like,
Yeah.
I just find
I don't
I
think she's ever said anything. She was on the ATL and 29 podcast, like episode 8 or something.
yeah, yeah. No, knowing how how she operates, like I just feel like Al Horford was just like very
Yeah,
very atypical man behavior with who I don't know.
and I feel like we don't have to get into it, but just quickly, there's 2 games a year that Chick-fil-A does that no shows for. Two. 2 games a year they no show for. And we don't talk about which ones they are. If you don't know, you don't know, right? I'll just say it. Like Halloween, when they celebrate Halloween, they don't show up. And Pride Night, they don't show up. Those are 2 times Chick-fil-A. And that's their choice. I'm not gonna, that's their choice. That they have certain principles they run their business on, I presume, and they're kind of religiously centric in how they run their business and whatever. But no one takes an issue with that. But again, that's fine for them to choose that. I'm not gonna, say they have to do what I expect them to do. But there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of, you know, different places on the political spectrum one might be. I don't care, or I don't really care at all. But there's a lot more going on around different partners opting in and out of events depending upon what theme night is going on at the game, and that's how it works. So there's other stuff on a lower part of the spectrum that's similar to that, but that stuff happens.
When they came out with the official announcement, like, and I probably will get some of these details wrong. It's like, we're if you pre-ordered a hoodie, you're going to get it. You can't buy a hoodie if you get there. There's still going to be chicken. There's still going to be a musical act. They're not going to do the podcast on the documentary movie that was about Magic City. Adam Silver says, no, 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 we're canceling it. Okay. People still have tickets to this game. And it's people that wanted to celebrate Magic City, and they're still going to be in the building Monday night. Like, how much of this, like, the official program isn't really happening, but like, I feel like something might bubble out. Like, because
I
the
mean,
target audience is still going to be in the
from
building.
yeah, I mean to me, Kevin, from like a business perspective, it would be stupid for the Hawks to not sell their inventory of like hoodies at bare minimum. Like that would be dumb. Like that to me, I'm just as somebody who works in the finance industry, I'm like, there are people who would want those hoodies, uh, and I would sell them. And like again, the NBA approved it. They approved it before they printed any shirt, any promotion. The NBA approved this, and now they're backtracking because again they're allowing forces that aren't in good faith, arguing that this is for women or like this is to protect women or this is to protect children. Like at some point, these organizations have to wisen up and recognize that a lot of times those types of arguments aren't being done in good faith. Like, and that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, these arguments aren't in good. Like, they don't care about women. They don't care about kids. They just don't want a quote unquote negative industry getting any type of publicity when people in Atlanta don't consider that. Like, Magic City is a tourist attraction as well. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm like, I, women go to Magic City too. If you're an adult, you go to Magic City. It's a hangout spot.
I
Like
mean, Jamie
I
Gertz is the one who produced the documentary, who's a principal owner of the team, and that was sort of the initial tie-in. Like, are you protecting her by like nixing it? Like, I don't know. Whatever. All right, basketball.
Basketball.
Um, what did you think about the game with the Mavericks there? Was that sort of how you expected it would go? Were there any new wrinkles, anything new that you learned about the Hawks in this game?
I mean, for me, it's like when Middleton and Clay were on, like those guys still know how to make shots. Now they can't play defense. Neither of them can play defense anymore, so they gave it back on the other end. but they're still both ridiculous shot makers. And so when the vets were on, Dallas could actually function offensively. When the vets were off, Dallas had a hard time functioning offensively. Like Cooper couldn't do anything with Dyson. No judgment on Cooper. Is he still 18? Is he 19 yet? I don't know how old he is still. But Dyson kind of did his thing. But the game was, to me, closer than I expected it to be, I guess, through parts of the game. And Dallas fought, competed, and hung in there. But the Hawks just stayed steady and kind of figured it out and closed it out. But yeah, Zach losing Clay a couple times, and and Middleton backing down CJ. Like, what is this mismatch? Or, what is this matchup? Why is CJ on Middleton? Those were questions I had, but they got the win. That's all that matters. 7 in a row. So
What'd you think of the game, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough because I think it's pretty clear that the Mavericks' best players were all off the bench, and they were going up against the Hawks bench units, and they were just working them. So like that's really where I came in because it's like both Klay Thompson and Chris Middleton and Marvin Bagley all came off the bench, and when those three were in the game, the Hawks were having a real tough time. But unfortunately, the Hawks or their rotations were based on the starters for the Mavericks being their best players. So, like, it was just the Hawks got caught up in bad matchups every time the rotation flipped. Because like Cooper Flag, I mean, he's good for a rookie, but like he's still a rookie. He's not some lead ball handler. It kind of went Glenn like I talked about, or Glenn and Kevin like I talked about before the game was that they didn't have a point guard. They're going to pressure him up the floor. They got turnovers. The second Dallas got a point guard in the game, they were able to run their offense. And so, like, again, like to me, I think it was just unfortunate how the Mavericks had oriented their rotations compared to what the Hawks were doing. I don't think there was much Quinn could do, but you saw at some point if those Clay and Chris Middleton and Marvin Bagley were going to have to go up against the Hawks starters, and the Hawks starters were just better. So like not really much to take away from the team other than the starters are playing great. They look fresh. They're playing fresh. Dyson's been absolutely electric during this winning streak. So hopefully they can keep it up. But they've been playing great basketball. And like that was the type of game before this stretch. If they were going to win it, they're going to win it by like 5 points or 7 points. They ended up winning by double digits. That speaks volumes to me. Like you beat NBA teams, especially like the Mavericks weren't tanking. They were trying to win that
No,
game.
that is
If
correct.
you're going to beat a team that's trying to win the basketball game by more than 10 points, you were the significantly better team and you're playing good basketball. So kudos to them for pulling it out that way.
Kudos to Dallas for not tanking. Like they're in a situation where it might behoove them a little bit to lose some games, but they're not doing that, which I just give them a massive amount of credit for. Like they have the number one overall pick from last year, and they're trying to, develop him. So it's maybe a little bit different than it might be for some other teams, but yeah, they were playing real players. I still don't understand why they don't play more guards in their starting lineup.
they just don't have any guards.
Well, I mean, I was kind of irritated with how effective Brandon Williams was
Yeah, he's good.
because it didn't feel like the Hawks defended him the right way. Like they felt like, he'd be one pass away off the ball and they'd swing it to them and they would be like sprinting out to close to his jumper. And it's like, that's not what's going to happen. He's just trying to get the drive and get into the paint and get past you, not entirely unlike what you might see from Dyson Daniels or something like that. Like
Yeah.
you need to take a different approach with him. I thought that was like the one curveball maybe the Hawks didn't handle all that well in the game.
Yeah, I agree
The
that
the the combination of CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert and Jock Landale is not my favorite. It's that really still feels, going back now 15 games, like the one big drawback for the Hawks is they just sometimes they play too many subpar defenders together off the bench and they don't really need to do that. Like it just seems like they could get away with doing less of that.
Yeah, I mean, Kispert's had some good games, but he had a pretty rough game last night. And when those three play together, they got to make like two-thirds of their shots and be able to set their defense to give themselves a chance. If that doesn't happen, then that unit can be in trouble defensively. So thankfully they're playing a team that didn't have a lot of guards who could like, really break things down, apart from Brandon Williams being good. But yeah, I was like, why is Kispert still on the floor? Like we need a better, stronger defender out there. I want like get Kispert off, get Gabe Vincent on if that's the solution, whatever it might be, or go whatever direction you want to go. But and I'm not a Kispert hater at all. Like when he's knocking down shots, fine, let him play, right? But if he's out of rhythm and not really kind of helping the offense, then maybe go a different direction.
Yeah, and it's just again like Kispert, it's sure, but like, are you going to play him with McCollum? And if you're going to play him with McCollum, who's your center at that point? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like they get to a critical mass where it's not effective. The starters are playing great. I think a big part of it is just the starters are great in some respects. It's just that all season long the Hawks had to rely on them too much.
Yep.
And there was a point 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, where they were just running on fumes and smoke, and they would just, and Yucca in particular, I think there were some moments for Nikhil Alexander Walker, like they just needed some time to get themselves right. And so, in playing 4 games in 12 days, they've had time for practices, they've had time to reintegrate some of the new guys and make sure that everybody's on the same page. But more than anything else, like these four main players, Onyeka, Jalen, Nikhil, Dyson, like they're just four really good basketball players. And when they have the appropriate amount of rest, like they're just going to be better than a lot of the teams that they're facing. And I asked them about it last night, and they're like, "Yeah, it's been it's been absolutely great. We feel a whole lot better given that we've had some time to not just play game after game with tons of back to backs." So
The depth helps for sure.
yeah, what did you think about when Clay and Chris Middleton got hot? Like, what did you think about how the Hawks were defending them in those moments?
I mean, Clay, even though he doesn't move as well as he used to, like he still his ability to lose the closeout defender and relocate in the right direction and get the ball back and create that shot is at his age still is mind-bogglingly ridiculous. He's still so good at that. The Middleton is just strong. He'll back a small defender down and get to his shot and get to that 10, 12 foot kind of turnaround, step back. And he's good at it. So the Hawks played a pretty small second unit on a lot of cases where Middleton had a matchup that really he could really take advantage of. And then, like I said, Clay's ability to relocate like in a flash still at this age is just bonkers to me. Even though he's not, defensively helping you much or whatever, but he's still a ridiculous shot maker.
Yeah, I thought it was like a good experience for Zachary to be guarding Klay Thompson. Like, I think
He
he
was
he
learning
saw
process.
some things. Like there were times where Zachary was probably like, "Yeah, I got this," because he Clay would relocate somewhere. Zachary would get this incredible closeout. Clay rises to shoot. Zach's got it under control, and then Clay like throws it to the post and relocates. It's like that was like a whole new wrinkle for Zach. Like, oh wait, I have got to go chase him now after I just jumped to contest his shot.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a whole learning experience for him playing against somebody who was that good off the ball.
It's good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
the optics were a little rough, but it's a good thing to go back and watch and and learn from.
Yeah. Yeah. And to go back to the starters, like they were very methodical because at the end of the game, Dallas is like, okay, we rode Chris Middleton and Klay Thompson to get here. We're gonna let them, at least for a little bit, try to close and get us closer to the finish line. And when those guys were in there against the Hawks were just like, no, we're gonna run this action. We got to switch, and here's Jalen Johnson on Klay Thompson. And it's as soon as they did that, it was
The kids say food.
yeah, it was done. Like they were just going to have to collapse. Jalen was making the right decisions, drive, pass, shoot, whatever he had to do there. Like he had the advantage and he used it properly every time. So, they were very adult about how they finished that game. They knew what the advantage was and they took advantage of it. Any other thoughts on Dallas, Tyler?
On the game in particular, not really. Again, I've been super impressed by Marvin Bagley though. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's turned himself into a good NBA player. Um, Somebody the Hawks should maybe think about signing this offseason. Like, I'd rather have him than Dame Gafford. I was not impressed by what I saw from Gafford defensively in particular. It was just way too easy for the Hawks to get to their spots with Gafford in the game compared to Bagley, who at least like he's not, you know, I think he's gotten a lot better on that end of the floor in particular, combined with his still he's an opportunistic scorer, good offensive rebounder. Like this is a good player. And I think a winning team should have tried to poach him, but I think he's found himself a good niche. I think he's going to help a good team next year because he's just a good basketball player. So that was probably the thing I took away the most. But like just the continued dominance of Dyson Daniels, who I've been consistent on this about him. I, they don't trade Trey unless Dyson takes this type of leap that he has as a offensive engine. Like he is the team's point guard, and like it works. Like even when teams put centers on him, like because he's such a great screener, he screens for good guys who are good pull up 3-point shooters, and it kind of just wrecks that type of defense. And so then you have to play him straight up, and if you're playing him straight up, he's able to play his unorthodox offensive game, but it works. It's like he's very efficient in the paint. He's a great passer, and he's not turning the ball over. And like that's massive for the possession game. Like he generates turnovers with his defense, and he doesn't turn it over on offense. Like that's just how you become. Like to me, he's on the pathway to being one of the best basketball players in the sport. Like again, I've been pretty consistent with that all year about Dyson. I really feel that he just needs to refine his 3-point shot. But like, I think he's been a better shooter than this the entirety of his career. I don't think he's going to continue to just not be able to shoot the ball. Um, and like, if he can get that back, if he can finish with more strength consistently at the rim as well, I think that's kind of the next step for him. Not settle for so many floaters, particularly against smaller players, so he can go to the free throw line a bit more. But that'll come like that's only going to happen when his 3-point shot returns to him, because it's just easier for him to just take the floater because defenders are backing off of him so much. So I get that, but I would still like to see him play more with his shoulders, get into defenders' bodies to create separation, and then finish layups that way. But good to see him dunking more. That as well. So like, hopefully, he can continue that. But like, Dyson's been incredible. Jalen's trying to get himself into All NBA. That's good to see. Um, I still wish Jalen played more consistency on defense. The Hawks sometimes when their defense waxes, he's like the first guy I'm looking at often, but he usually picks it up. So that's kind of the only real negatives. The rest, like, hard to complain too much. The Hawks are playing great ball.
They've used a lot of the stack pick and roll lately,
Yep.
where Jalen's at the top, Dyson's there to set a screen, and Nikhil is behind him setting a screen for the screener. And so in those actions, that's a great, it's, using the word hide is way too strong for Dyson because he can just do so many things on offense on his own merits. But, when you have Nikhil setting back screens for Dyson to get rolling to the rim, while Jalen is the one with the ball and you've got to worry about Jalen driving. And then, of course, Nikhil in these actions, he's screening for Dyson. And then, because it's Dyson and Nikhil, almost always the end result of these stack formations is Nikhil going out to the 3-point line while Dyson is rolling to the rim. But it's just posed enough problems that teams don't have solutions for that. And of course, when they're out there with CJ McCollum and Onyeka, it's not like you can be bringing a ton of help from other places. So, that's something to keep an eye on. It's going to be interesting to see like how they use that if they can get to a high stakes situation, whether that's a play-in game or a playoff series. Like, how does that get scouted? How do teams really go after that? But right now, like they're really getting a lot of mileage out of that, and there aren't a lot of good answers.
Yeah, and they're physical in that action too, which is a key part of how you execute that stuff. So you can't be soft. You got to be physical. The screen has to be firm. The screen has to be real contact. That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean that they kind of let you get a little bit. It's like you get away with a little bit more because
Yeah,
it's an off-ball screen. So the player who's screening from the screener kind of has a lot of latitude to just
yeah,
grab somebody and say, "Hey, you're staying with me for a minute," and then after you let go and you're popping out, and
yeah.
it's not easy to defend.
Yeah, to be nerdy for a second, technically, when you're screening from behind, you're supposed to give the offensive player one step of space to move, but they never call it. That's in the rule book. One step of space if the
Isn't that
screen is
on the catch?
no. That's any screen from behind, from directly behind the offensive player.
Okay,
You have to give them one, but they never call it. But the flip
never.
side, they never
They
call it.
might call it out in open space, like out
Yeah,
near midcourt or something. They're
yeah,
not going to call it at the free throw line, which is
yeah,
the location we're talking about.
yeah.
All right.
I
And
got a question for you, Kevin.
how do you beat Brooklyn? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you owe someone an apology?
Yeah, I owe Ace a new apology. I said he took 7 steps and there was a dribble I couldn't see. I
Yeah.
screwed up. I'm sorry, Asa. I will apologize to him when I see him.
All right.
Just you just can't get those back. And is there anything that we need to say about Brooklyn at all? Like this is a game that the Hawks should just win. Is there anything else to it?
They should win, but they're well coached when they play hard, so you can't take it for granted. I'll put it there. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Anything for Brooklyn, Tyler?
No, but the Magic and Heat refuse to lose, so that's frustrating. Um, I don't know. Well, luckily the Hawks play them, so they'll be able to decide their own fate there. But
I mean, the
they're
team that
the
they should
Magic
be
and
able
Heat
to
are
catch
playing
though is the
legitimate
Sixers. The Sixers have
great
no
ball.
players now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not. They're going to catch them, but it's the Heat and Magic that are bothering me right now.
All right then. I appreciate you taking the time to join me tonight and good night, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Good night, Bob.